Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel for your Chelsea versus West Ham Premier League preview. It's kind of weird to say Chelsea as the home team, West Ham as the away team, and be concerned because we're at home. I don't remember the last time as a Chelsea fan, at least in my adult life, where I've ever actually been so nervous about Chelsea being the home team. Before we get into talking about the things today, there's a few home truths that I want to talk about before we build my Chelsea 11. Please subscribe to the George Benson football channel, and if you can, hit the like button on today's video. If we can get 2,000 likes before kickoff today, I will be a very content fella. This is not going to be easy. West Ham, the Premier League for them now is subsidiary. They've got to play the fixtures, of course, but their eyes are firmly printed on Frankfurt in the Europa League semi-final, and then, if they can get past Frankfurt, the dream of a European final, and then making the Champions League through being Europa League winners, this is why the Europa League is still a very important competition, because West Ham, over 38 games, I think if they probably had another striker, they might have been in with a chance of meeting top four, considering the way that every team, apart from Liverpool and City, have kind of been beyond flaky all season. When it becomes beneath Liverpool and City, I'm at a point now, even where with Chelsea, I do believe that anybody can beat anybody on any given day. Spurs held at Brentford yesterday. Arsenal beat Manchester United. United have lost 4 games away from home in the Premier League for the first time ever, and yet even still, with 4 games for them left, mathematically they can still finish in the top 4. Chelsea today, there is a genuine concern of mine that because of this awful recent home form, the capitulation of our defending at Stamford Bridge, West Ham have already beaten us this season. They're a very, very good team. There is a real concern inside of me today that Chelsea could, in fact, lose this game. And I'm not saying that I think we will lose this game, because you guys know I am forever the optimist, and I do believe that at some stage or another, Chelsea's losing record and conceding tons of goals at home is certainly going to come to an end. But without Toni Rudiger in the side, not just today, but for next season as well. Rudiger, it looks as though he's going to be leaving. Real Madrid are the favourites. To say that we could have seen this one come in would be an understatement. The fact that Rudiger was offered big money, rejected it, and wanted some crazy agent fees and other things signing on top. I think that, well, at this moment in time, we have just got to accept that Rudiger's going to go, and the position that the club is in right now is the reason for that. I think if Chelsea didn't have all of this off the field, who knows what's going on about them, then I think Rudiger would have probably ended up staying. And I think that negotiations, when negotiations can actually go forward, would have happened. And I'm not saying, well, I said it on Twitter yesterday, it was a bit of a silly statement from me really. I said that it is just the disaster and the decision making from the Rain Group has taken this long. Realistically, with any massive business decision of this scale, it was never going to be fast. But when Chelsea aren't winning on the field, it's very easy, and I'm also very quick to turn away from positive optimism about what we can do on the pitch. And I'm just like, well, you know, it's almost as if it's become like an entertainment show where they're dragging it on, eliminating one bidder at a time, and then it's going to be like this big dramatized Tyson Fury versus Dillian White-esque kind of, it's going to be Todd Boehly versus whoever it's going to be. It's what it feels like now, and it's kind of become a huge concern for Chelsea because Christensen's going to leave. That's not great, but Rudiger not leaving is a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. Or not leaving, I mean not staying. Rudiger's not staying is a disaster for Chelsea. We've got to go and replace 2 top-class centre-backs, one of which is right up there, in my opinion, with top 4 in the world, Toni Rudiger. Aspi, not the same player. Yeah, he's staying, but Chelsea have got to absolutely revolutionise, revitalise, rebirth the back line this summer, which is seriously concerning. And the reason why all of that is still in the forefront of my mind, despite the evident lapse in form at Stamford Bridge, is because I do think that a lot of players in this Chelsea squad know that a reform is coming, that a total revamping of the squad is about to happen, where some of the players, particularly what you saw against Arsenal, it just looked so lackadaisical, such a lack of caring and fighting in a London derby, for goodness sake. Like, I've only made one video since that defeat, since the 6 things we learned, which was about selling potentially 12 players. And I think there's even more. Rudiger wasn't included in that video. Kepa isn't included in that video. This summer is such a definitive summer for Chelsea Football Club. And at this moment, because of what we're doing on the field, I'm incredibly concerned. But without any further ado, as much as this has been a very negative start to the video, there's a game to be won out there today, and we've just got to hope that even if Danny Murphy's bloody right and Chelsea players have got their heads on the beach somewhere, we've got to hope that West Ham are too busy thinking about Frankfurter sausages in Frankfurt to be able to turn up to West London and deliver a performance that will really give them the confidence and put Chelsea in a sticky situation about top 4. So, we begin with the goalkeeper. He's conceded a lot of goals recently, Mendy, but through gritted teeth, I put him in again. And the reason I say through gritted teeth is because, well, maybe Kepa deserves a shot. Will Tuchel be willing to make a bold decision like that in case it goes against him when our form is so volatile already? I don't think he'll change it up too much. So for that reason, Mendy is the keeper. Moving into a back 3 of Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva and Trevor Chalobah. I don't know about you lot, but what we've seen recently with Chalobah's kind of like almost freezing out of the team after a couple of dodgy moments, I wouldn't fully say awful performances, but a couple of moments that maybe showed that lack of overall experience. But Tuchel kind of froze him out in a way where it's kind of resembled that of how Tomori was frozen out by Frank Lampard, and then lo and behold, Tomori gets sold, and well, look at him now at AC Milan, one of the best defenders in the league all season. I really hope that what we're seeing at the moment is just that Tuchel is backing other players ahead of Chalobah, and after a couple of mistakes, Chalobah's kind of getting that humbling of saying like, well, you've had a great season, but this is Chelsea, and you've got to make sure that that standard you set early is absolutely congruent throughout the entire season. But he comes back in today, because there's no Rudiger. Christensen, I am a bit concerned about him, to be honest. So for that reason, I dropped Christensen. His head is clearly not here anymore. He's off to Barcelona thinking about the sun in Spain. So I don't think Christensen plays. I don't know if I want to see him play for Chelsea again after what we saw against Arsenal. It was a shambles. There was also that little injury too. So as much as I don't want to fully disrespect the bloke, he was brilliant last season. But as soon as players know they're not going to be here anymore next year, with Chelsea kind of overconfident about top 4, with only an FA Cup final left, you wonder whose head's really in the game. Moving into the wing-backs, Reece James and Marcus Alonso. Reece James, right centre-back, brilliant. Right wing-back, world-class. I think whatever position this guy plays in, there's only one consistency that I'm thinking of, and that is that Reece James must play. He's in the right wing-back position today. The central midfield, no Mateo Kovacic, which is very concerning due to the significant drops of form of both Kante and Jorginho, but I put both Kante and Jorginho in the team for this one. Ruben has been playing well recently, but against Arsenal, again, struggled a little bit. So this could have been any of those 3, to be fair, because I could actually vindicate and justify to you guys why I would have dropped any of Jorginho, Kante, Ruben. I don't think any of them after the Arsenal game are fully safe, but I do think Tuchel will revert to experience and big games here. And this is a massive game for Chelsea. We've got to get a result today. Spurs were held at Brentford. This is a big opportunity. Chelsea, London derby, get one back over West Ham and really cement our place in that top 4. We need 4 wins still from 7 games. I do believe that. I think as much as the other teams around us cannot seem to pick up any form, Arsenal are heading that way now. 2 big wins in 4 days. We got to make sure we do something similar. The front 3 is Mount, Werner and Kai Havertz. Lukaku, after what we saw against Arsenal, 60 minutes of nothingness again. I think it's over. I think it's done. I know I keep reverting back to negatives here because that's where my mind's at. I'm worried about this game today. I really, really am concerned about what Chelsea are going to do here. And I think with the form of Werner, with Kai Havertz's form up until the last couple of games where he has looked tired, he's looked fatigued, we've got to absolutely resurrect this here before we kind of just fold into the end of this season, which isn't what we want to see. We want to go into that FA Cup final knowing that Liverpool, right until the very end, are going to be competing for the title, so that they're never letting their foot off the gas. They're never letting that momentum slip. At least I don't think they will anyway. I think they'll all win the games, every match they have until the end of the season, which will probably leave City as champions. But I think Chelsea today, this is the 11 we've got to go with. Werner's the informed man. Maybe Mason Mount needs a rest eventually, but I think his energy, with Kovacic not being there, and the work rate is going to be so important. So he's got to start this game today. I'm slouching off the edge of the bed here. This is probably the most pessimistic I've been for a Premier League game all season, but I think Chelsea will win this 2-1. I'm just literally going with the blind optimism that West Ham are genuinely so concerned about the Europa League that maybe their eyes are there and not here at Stamford Bridge today, although I don't think they will, because David Moyes, great manager, West Ham, great squad, brilliant players. I just think with only one fit centre-back today in Craig Dawson, they might have to make changes, which will probably end up seeing them play a lot of long ball football up towards Jared Bowen and Antonio. Dangerous players. We've got to keep an eye on them today, but I think we'll just about have enough to win. 6 Things We Learned will be out straight after the match tonight, so stay tuned to GBFC. Make sure notifications are on the channel. Sorry I'm being so negative. It's just the Rudiger news has absolutely slapped me in the last couple of days, and he's not even in the squad for the game today either because of an injury. So, big problems, but we've got to make sure that on the pitch, we get the job done and we get top 4 secured as soon as we possibly can so that we can actually look forward to the summer rebuild and next season under Thomas Tuchel. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. See you guys later. Come on, you Blues.